Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Jennifer Bridgeforth again, and we are still here at the I Am That Woman retreat. I am so excited. This has been a wonderful event so far, and I'm going to continue to interview our amazing speakers to give you a little bit of an idea of just the wonder and the joy and the inspiration that we are getting in these sessions. So we just came out of another session, and at this moment, I'm going to have a little conversation with Chef Jamika and Valerie Tyler. Hello, ladies. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. So they had a session today about nutrition, food, and wellness and the connection. So let's talk a little bit about that. I had several questions that came up while I was sitting there. And one of the things I want to talk about is you hear a lot, not just with your interview today or your discussion today, but you hear a lot about how women of color sometimes are disproportionately affected with the connection between our health and our diet. So, what can you tell us about that dynamic, about how women of color are more susceptible to being affected with kind of that mind-body connection when it comes to our diets and our health?
Well, one thing I have to say is that as Black women, as the culture in general, we are creatures of habit. So if my grandmama made it this way, that's how I'm going to make it. And we really don't truly eat outside of the box. There's a world of food, flavors, different cooking techniques, various textures that we can pursue, but we just stick to what we know. So I always encourage, and the way that I cook a lot of my recipes are designed is that I take a little something that you're familiar with, and then I try to include and incorporate various spices and various other types of foods from different cultures to kind of take you on a little bit of a journey, not too far outside of what you're accustomed to, but then it's just like, oh, I didn't even think. By the time you realize, you're like, I can actually do this. It's doable, it's good, it tastes good, and it's good for me, and it's a little bit outside of your comfort zone. That's all we got to do, is step outside just a little bit to get some more flavor and some more fun.
Yes, I agree. And it's so funny that you say that, because when my mom passed away, one of the things I wanted to make sure I could do, particularly for my father, because he was adamant that I made him a sweet potato pie. And I had to go to one of my cousins, one of my older cousins, to get a recipe. And she said, okay, you put this in, the sweet potato, all of that. And one of the things was like 3 cups of sugar. And I thought, in one pie?
One sweet.
I said, girl, that is a lot of sugar in one pie. So I mentioned that because don't be afraid. I call it freestyling. So I would tell my family, I'm going to have to freestyle this recipe a little bit. There's a lot going on in here to adjust it and cut back on what may be traditional or historic that we've always done it a certain way.
I would say to that, amp up the spices. You kind of got to trick the brain. If I'm tasting other things, I'm not missing the sweetness and the sugar, because that's like, oh, wait, that's cinnamon. Oh, wait, that's nutmeg. Oh, that's cloves in there, too. So you got to play with your food a little bit, trick the mind a little bit, but then it's all still tastes good in the end.
Yes, agreed. Okay, so what would be your top 3 recommendations, because you talked a lot about brain health through your food and exercise. So would you have maybe 3 takeaways that are connected to having better brain health through food and exercise?
Oh, okay. Well, in terms of brain health, when I think about increasing your capacity to think, your capacity to build new cells, your capacity to expand and grow the brain, I think about cardio exercise, aerobic exercise, those things that are taking the heart and pumping it and pumping fresh blood into the brain. So when I think about healthy brain, I think about working out, moving, exercising, and increasing your cardio activity.
And would you say, or would you agree that every little bit helps? Sometimes people hear that you need to start moving and they think, do I have to do a half marathon? Do I have to do 30 minutes at a time? Like, what would be your kind of target guideline, particularly for people who are just starting out?
That's a really good point, because a lot of times people emphasize what is it that I have to do to be healthy. And when I told everybody you need 30 minutes of exercise, it doesn't have to be consecutive exercise. It could be parking a little bit further away from the front door of the grocery store, maybe getting with a couple of friends and saying, let's walk around the mall before it opens up. It could be walking to some place that you wouldn't normally walk to that's maybe only a few blocks away. So just take little steps, little steps, little steps. Getting on a stationary bike for 5 minutes, then increasing it to 10 and 15. So you have to incrementally take these steps. Not only is it good for your heart, because you don't want to stress your heart, and you want to take these steps at a time so that you're building your endurance over time. So I would say take little steps, a little bit more, and at least challenge yourself to do something outside the box, something that's moving, something that's climbing up and down stairs instead of taking an escalator or an elevator. You know, there's so many things that you can do that I was thinking about around this building. They'll take a golf cart and drive you 5 feet. I'm like, well, wait. I can walk. I can walk to the back, you know? So take those kind of steps. Go do something that's very easy to do, is just to go do a water aerobic class. How easy is that?
Yes.
How easy is that? There's pools everywhere. All you do is stand in the water and move your body. And the important thing is that you have some socialization with it. You know, if you don't have some social interaction, it's very difficult for you to get excited. We are social animals. We're not going to sit around and say, I'm in the house by myself, I'm going to go do something for 5 minutes. I'm not going to do it. But if you have an accountability partner, you have a group that you do it with, they're looking for you, they're calling you, you'll show up.
Yes. And you had a great demonstration during our presentation.
Oh.
It was just water bottles.
Yeah.
And pumping your arms. Like, we could do that at our desk, watching TV. And it was the simplest things. Like, I love how you simplify the easiest things. That's a great start.
And then another thing, earlier this morning we were doing chair exercises. Okay, so you're sitting in your chair at home or at work, but you can do, you know, raise your knees, raise your legs, raise your arms, put your knees in and out, you know, to work your hip flexors. There's so many things. You put your arms up with the water bottles at work and do that. So just move.
Yes. So we're starting where we are.
Yes.
Starting where we are. Okay. This one is going to be kind of a two-part question a little bit, because it resonated with me. So I had the personal question in this position. But you talked a lot about the idea of plant-based food, right? And we can automatically think that because something comes in a green package, because from a marketing perspective, they usually use the color green to signify that something is healthier. And it may not be, right? So I want to talk a little bit about the idea of ingredients and the importance of being meticulous with understanding what ingredients are in food, whether it's supposed to be healthy or not. And I want to expand that question for those of us who have allergies, because I have a severe nut allergy. I keep an EpiPen in my purse. And you talked a lot about nut butters. And as you were discussing them, I thought, oh man, because I can't have them. I can't have them. Now, I am odd in the sense that I can have peanuts, but technically peanuts are a vegetable. Yes, I can do sunflower butter. So give us a little bit of a suggestion. A, what are we looking for when it comes to plant-based foods and the ingredients that actually may make them worse as opposed to better? And B, do you have any substitutions that we can add, again, for the freestyle, that can assist us with replacing the things that we don't need or cannot have and still have that full experience in our food?
Now, the thing with plant-based, it's on trend. You see it on all social media. It's like, oh, I'm vegan, I'm plant-based. The thing with that, when you buy the processed items, because I encourage incorporating a plant-based meal into your weekly diet. So making sure that you eat something that is filled with vegetables, that is fine. But once you start getting into processed like chicken nuggets or fish bite or sausage links or burgers, that is where someone else has had their hand in it. And it tastes just like the real thing, but it was a lot of work to do that.
Yes.
So when you turn around that package and you check the sodium level, that in itself can take you out, especially if you're dealing with high blood pressure. And they package it up beautifully, and the marketing of it, and you think, I'm doing good. It says gluten-free, no trans fat, all of the buzzwords that are out there.
And maybe filled with sugar.
It's sugars in there, it's salts in there, there's binding agents in there, because that burger has to feel, because they follow the texture, not only the taste, but the texture of it as well. So you have binders in there, you have thickeners, you have so many other things in there that if you just ate the real burger, would be far more healthy for you than going for what you think is that plant-based because everybody's doing it, it's trendy, and I think I'm eating better. So I don't talk against it, but I'm just like, make sure you follow a brand that you are aware and you read and you are thorough about what is actually in there. And if you're going to make it, try to make it yourself from scratch. Buy the plant-based beef and make your own burger. That way you know how much salt is in there, you know what the spices are, you know all of the, and you try to control as much as you can yourself at home. Don't give it all the way to the manufacturer, and then you're going to pay for that too. Plant-based foods are not cheap, okay? So make sure you try to make it at home. And then at the end of the day, just add more vegetables to your daily diet, your week. I do one meal a week where it's just plant-based. So just vegetables, fruits, no meat in there, and you can get it the same way. And you get more nutrients, more benefits from it than eating someone else's processed.
So having an awareness about the ingredients is key.
Absolutely.
I remember once I had this was back in my modeling days, I had someone to tell me that a Caesar salad or a Cobb salad actually has more fat and more calories than a cheeseburger and fries.
But it said salad, so you think it's okay.
Exactly. But it's that dressing.
It's the dressing. And then in a Cobb salad, it has 4 types of ham, 3 pieces of chicken, bacon, etc. And I thought, well, we're just going to have the burger because there's too many things.
You have to get past what is trending, what is out there, that people are marketing towards you, and get smarter and actually read the labels, pay attention, and decipher through what those labels are really saying. Anything, for example, it doesn't just have to say high fructose corn syrup or sugar. Anything that ends in an OSE, sucrose, lactose, dextrose, that's another form of sugar. So it says, oh, well, no added sugar. Well, no, there's a world of sugar in there that you got to get smarter. You got to outsmart the manufacturer, else they will take you down, okay? So learn about your foods. Take that time because the more you learn, the more you can experiment in your kitchen, and the more it entices you to want to cook more. A lot of people that say, oh, I don't want to cook, I don't know what to do. If you start doing the research, you will be motivated to want to take and empower yourself in your kitchen and when you're working out. So.
Yes. We have 3 sisters sitting here who have different layers or levels of natural hair, whether it is a protective style, whether it is locks, well, you know what I mean? And I'm mentioning that because I bet all of us have stood at a beauty supply store or at a grocery store and read the ingredients on our shampoos, on our conditioners. So we do that with our hair, and I'm thinking we should be doing that with our food.
Your food is, you see a lot of products now that are natural that have the olive oil, the coconut oil, the apple cider vinegar. That's in your pantry right now. So consider, I heal myself with what's in my pantry. You can. I do a watermelon face mask that is hydrating, pureed watermelon and honey. That help, it's anti-inflammatory. Like there's so many foods, you just got to do the research that will help increase your skin, your hydration, inside and out. Food is healing.
Yes.
You eat right and you move, you gonna live. I mean, I'm telling you, you're gonna be on this earth for a minute.
Yes. And that's what we want.
And I have a book that I meant to bring with me. It's in the room, but it's How to Live Longer. And it's all about exercise and it's all about food. You can change later in life. You know, someone said, can you get rid of diabetes? Yes, you can. You can get rid of diabetes. So there's so many things. If you just focus and pay attention to things, read, and understand and set goals, you can change your body. You can change the makeup of your body internally and externally.
Yes. So the last question, so you can get in and experience our next speaker. You spoke a little bit about herbs and putting herbs in your food and having an herb garden. For those of us who may live in high rises or urban environments who do not have a space for a garden, who do not have a yard, I know for myself, one thing I have to have in my house or in my apartment, even if it's a hanging basket, is chives and basil. Those are the two things, because I can pretty much keep them alive all year round if I do what I'm supposed to do. So, do you have any recommendations about an herb that can be healthy and helpful, and it is also something that we can maintain in the smallest of spaces?
Parsley. Parsley can pretty much grow and exist in just about any environment, and it grows. You treat it right, you talk to it, treat it like any other plant, it will grow massively. You snip it away at the right place in the stem, and it'll continue to keep blessing you. And there's so many other different ways to use parsley. Put it in your smoothies. Not only just garnish your plate to make it look pretty, but incorporate it in your salads, incorporate it in your sauces and your soups. So many healing properties. So I always tell people, if nothing else, eat some parsley. And it helps with your breath too, so does mint.
I was going to ask you about mint, because I grew some mint outside and it went wild.
It doesn't stop.
It took over all of my, it took everything. So I was wondering, is that a good one for an urban lifestyle as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's not only great.
Yeah. And it's so good for you.
It's good
It's
for
so
you.
It needs a container.
You can
And
drink
or
it will take over the
It
whole
will take over your whole
neighborhood,
but at the
yeah.
same time, you can put it in your teas. It
Yeah.
helps with your breath, your digestion, your cognitive structure in your mind. It's so. Do your research on herbs and spices. You would be amazed how simple plan. You just pass it out in the grocery store all the time. Helps you so very much. And the thing that I hope that every lady got today, and you all get. It doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter when you start, but what you start doing from today forward will determine how you look and feel when you get to your 70s,
Right.
your 80s, and on into your 90s. But you, at this moment, you start from today. Because at 40, I realized, okay, my mother has dementia, my father has this, and I was like, I don't want to. What you start doing today will determine how you look and feel going into the rest of your life.
Yep, the quality of your life.
Start now.
Start
Start
now.
now.
Start where you
How
are.
old you are. In your 20s, in your 30s, does not matter. In your 50s, in your 60s, start right now. Every single thing that you do, how you move, how you eat, will determine how you look and feel going into the next 10, 12, another 30 years.
Yes.
And I think what I said, I'm sure what I said, was that over the age of 30, your body starts to decay. So either you decay it or you grow it, one or the other. It's your body's a chemical. It's either going to grow or it's going to decay. So the thing that you need to do is figure out, what do you want to do? Do you want to grow or do you want to decay?
I want to grow like this lady right here.
Right. And so I don't forget, because I'm a fan of parsley, Italian, flat, curly. Do you have a recommendation?
Easier to grow is, I love the look of Italian parsley, but just grow some parsley. Just grow. Curly parsley, that's the one, the easiest one to grow, I think.
Okay.
But flat parsley looks really nice on it.
It is cute.
Presentation.
Yes. Ladies, thank you so much for this time. We appreciate you, and we will be back with another powerful interview right here at I Am That Woman Movement. Stay tuned.